I read on the internet that our games have had a few bugs. I did. I read it on the internet, so it's true. And that sometimes it doesn't just work.
What's up, nerds and ne'er-do-wells? I'm iNinja, and welcome to my hell.
Fallout 76. What more can I say than... You know the game, you know the controversies, you know they fucked up. You've probably seen all the videos, so what's the point of this one? This video is here to tell you that this is not Fallout. But iron, I hear you say. It's came to the Fallout universe. It has all the items and style that comes with the name. Well, prepare for our generic MCU Spider-Man argument template, because this is a bad game, but even a worse Fallout game. Before we start, here's a bunch of backstory. 1998, a developer known as Interplay releases Wasteland, a post-apocalyptic RPG published by... The game was met with fantastic reviews and is generally known, even by today's standards, as a great introduction to RPGs. With all that praise and all that love, you'd think both parties would work together for a sequel. Are you kidding me? It's EA. Of course they were going to be asses about it. EA then took the license away from Interplay, and Interplay was left with nothing. So you're Interplay. You want to make a successor to your critically acclaimed RPG, but you don't actually own the rights to said RPG. What do?
It's such fucking American bootleg.
Fallout 1, the RPG that defined the series. The developers attempted to use the D&D system, also known as the generic Universal Role-Playing System, or GURPS for short, for things like combat and conversations. However, because of legal troubles with the owners of GURP due to the game's violent nature, Interplay wasn't able to use the system. What did they do? Make another bootleg within the already established bootleg. I tell ya, they're geniuses! They reworked a few things and named it the Special System. The game released in 1997, going under the name Fallout, a post-nuclear role-playing game. A subtitle that just screams! I added nothing to this. Speaking of adding nothing, despite having great reviews and becoming another critically acclaimed RPG, it didn't sell well. Like at all. So you're Interplay again, you're losing money, and you need a game fast. What do? You rush out the sequel, of course! I tell ya, they're geniuses! Fallout 2, same fucking subtitle, released only a year after the first. This was the game in which Interplay was really counting on selling well. So what did they do? Well, I hope you're taking notes, because they said, let's make this game even more unappealing. The plot of this game was much darker than the first, however, it was met with basically the same amount of praise. But, in parallel fashion, both 1 and 2 had the same amount in sales. Due to that fact, Interplay lost a lot more money. So, you're Interplay, once again, you're still losing money, and you need a surefire idea for a game. What do? You make fucking spin-offs. After various spin-off games that, surprise, didn't do well, Interplay then shut down, selling the Fallout IP to a developer called BETHESDA. So, you're Bethesda. You just bought a failed franchise and want to see what you can do with it. With an already successful RPG franchise under your belt, what do? Fallout 3. After 4 years since the last game in the franchise, and 10 years since the one in the mainline series, there was a lot of pressure to sell this game to the public. Not only were they presenting this to newcomers, but they were also having to re-present it to the veterans. They had to change the game drastically from a top-down, point-and-click RPG to a full-on, open-world, looter-shooter RPG with survival mechanics. The game had a lot to deliver, and did it live up to the hype? Hell yes it did. The Fallout franchise blew up. People were raving about this game, praising it. It became a genuine step forward in the series. You got to make your own character, explore Washington, D.C., and even blow up a fucking city. With all that praise, you'd think Bethesda would start working on the well, who's gonna make the next game now? Ah! Zombie! You guys remember how Interplay died? Well, they're back. After the studio closed down, many former employees actually started up a new company. Obsidian Entertainment. Bethesda licensed the franchise out to them and would publish the game. They gave them the engine, all the assets, and they gave them the ability to do whatever they wanted with the franchise. And so, Fallout New Vegas was released in 2010 with raving reviews. The only criticism being that the bugs and glitches didn't really change as well as the visuals. Luckily, Obsidian would get another chance to work on the franchise. All I needed was an 85 on Metacritic, and Bethesda would greenlight... Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. Well, at least they weren't like Interplay, making their own bootleg after they lost the license. They totally wouldn't do that. Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was revealed in mid-2015. It was then released 5 months later. And everyone who ever played the game left out with one big collective meh. A lot of people felt really indifferent about this game. Its story had less impactful decisions, the bugs were pretty bad, and some of the RPG elements were gone in favor of more survival elements, along with limited dialogue trees. However, the game still sold incredibly well, and the community was still pretty strong, proving that the game was still marketable and still popular as ever. That would then become a curse much, much later. On May 30th, 2018, Bethesda did a 7-hour live stream of just the Please Stand By. It got 4 million viewers. Until it was announced.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
Now I can go on and on about why 76 is boring, poorly designed, has terrible PvP, the development issues, how it retconned most of the lore, and why it ended up making this a terrible game. Hell, I could talk about the stuff that Bethesda isn't even learning from. Instead, I'm going to talk about why this made for a terrible Fallout game. The first thing we need to ask ourselves, what is Fallout? What makes a game Fallout? Well, Fallout, if we look at the previous games for reference, we'd see a gripping story that encourages players to go on their own pace, and having multiple endings, various side quests with full-on plotlines, and also having their own different endings for each side quest, engaging combat and shootouts that could be handled in various ways, and a fully explorable open world that changes due to your decision throughout your time playing. With that being said, the main concept that makes Fallout what it is choice. You can choose who you are, what you do, where you go, and the actions that you take along the way. You choose whether to defuse the megaton nuke or arm it to explode. You can choose whether to talk to your son or kill him on sight. You control the story. You choose how the story ends. And what does Fallout 76 do? It throws it out the fucking window! What's the main story in Fallout 76? There isn't one. Just listen to some holotapes and then go fuck off. And then fight a fucking bat. Side stories, fuck that. Here's some short escort missions. Oh, don't forget the pre-recorded robot dialogue with no engagement from the player. NPCs, what the hell are those? Now before people start to say that they're adding NPCs now, 1. I am talking about the base game and how it was given to us on day 1, as well as many other updates that have had prior to this. 2. As I will be explaining, there is no way the NPCs will work the way we think. 3. Why the fuck are people even defending this game? Let's start at the beginning. As I just said, the story is basically non-existent, as NPCs weren't allowed in this game. Their solution was to use holotapes as a way to inform the player of their progress and to keep them on their next objective. However, something they didn't expect is that it's boring! There isn't any engagement by the player. It's just an exposition factory for 5 minutes, and then they tell you to fuck off and go to the next one. The other Fallout games had an insane amount of dialogue, each with unique branches that affect the story. Hell, Fallout 4 had more dialogue engagement, and it only had 4 options. Some of them aren't even options, with most barely affecting the story or the conversations. At least in 4, you can choose what to say back. In 76, you don't even say anything. Why was this story so bad? Was it because it's an MMO and Bethesda writers can't think of anything better? Oh yeah. That. The biggest selling point of this game is that each character is a player. Here's the issue with that. In Fallout, almost every character you encounter will have something for you. You can either talk to them, or you can be horrible. Each character will react to you differently, all with their own personalities and backstories. In Fallout 76, you are with actual people. People with various ages, mic qualities, people with different ways to play, some who roleplay, the other 99% say fucking ruin the immersion by talking about how school was, or have their dad screaming at them from the background. I mean, I guess you could kill them. Oh wait, you can't. Bethesda said, let's make it so that you can't just kill whoever you want, and make every weapon take like 1 damage until they fight back. So that means you can't kill whoever you want, because you'll be using a damn mini nuke and only 1 fucking health goes away. And if you do manage to kill him with this 1 damage thing, good job! You're now a wanted man. You're completely visible on the minimap for everybody, and you can't see anyone at all on the minimap. Not to mention, when you die from said bounty, you lose your caps. Now this wouldn't be so bad. Trolling is annoying, so trying to prevent it and punish it is good. But in terms of trolling somebody in the first place, it doesn't even matter. All they're doing is dropping junk. In the other Fallout games, if you kill a character in the story, that's it. They aren't coming back. You won't see them again unless you go to a different save. But with them being gone, you get some of their stuff to boot. Rare weapons, mission items. It's a great risk and reward system. You get some cool stuff, but the downside being is that you lose a key character. In 76, however, it doesn't mean jack shit. The player you just killed, he'll be back in 5 seconds with nothing changed. He can get his stuff back, and everyone goes on their merry way. And if you both agree to a PvP match, what's the risk and reward? Nothing. There's only a reward. He doesn't lose his caps, you only gain caps. If you win, you get caps. If you die, nothing happens. You just respawn like nothing happened at all. Nothing lost, nothing gained. It does not matter! Which is why NPCs won't work either. If you want to kill them, there is no way to do this because they'd be gone for the rest of the game. But other players have to find these NPCs too. Unless it's randomly generated every time the player meets a new character that are just different every time, which goes by the same sentiment of, your choice means nothing in the grand scheme of the world. This isn't a Fallout game. This isn't even an RPG. Everything that Fallout had that was an RPG mechanic has now been transformed and muddled into a survival mechanic. Weapons and guns you get throughout the world, they added a weapon degradation. You like being able to run? Make sure you eat plenty of food and drink plenty of water, or else you won't be able to do it at all. Speaking of which, why the fuck does the food rot? Isn't that what the helmet is for? You can't even prevent it from rotting. Oh wait, you can. You just gotta pay them money in the atomic shop. Oh shit, I gotta talk about the atomic shop. You remember when Bethesda started the Creation Club and how annoying it was? If you wanted some good mods, you had to give them your money for stuff that they didn't make. And it only added something super minuscule that the purchase didn't matter. Could have actually downloaded it for free because it was a fucking mod. The Atomic Shop is kind of like that, but more infuriating. Why? Well, you see, they aren't just adding any items, they are adding items that you can already wear in Fallout 4 for free. You want different color power armor from Fallout 4? Give them money. You want a neck tattoo from Fallout 4? You better fork up some cash. You want to preserve your food and make general gameplay easier? Bitch, you better pay up. God, what the fuck were they thinking? I wonder, what'll be next? In order to leave the vault, you must pay a $5 fee? You want to launch a nuke? You gotta buy a nuking package. 5 nukes per month for only $14.99? Or what about a subscription service that only gives you a little bit of Atom and lets you use private servers, something that should have been free for a game as bad as this, for the price of... What the fuck is that? This is the biggest fuck you could have given. Oh, thank you, Anonymous Fan. So now that's out of the way, let's... That's it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. You broke me, Todd. You fucking broke me. The amount of idiocy that you guys have displayed with this game amazes me. You just made a really shitty FPS MMO and just shoehorned the Fallout brand into it. It's such a bad idea out of the gate that you couldn't even do the fucking VATS right. Nothing matters. Your choices don't matter, because the entire world technically can never change, since that would involve different worlds for different players for every decision made. Meaning that the NPC shit that you are saying is coming in 2 days won't be what we expect at all. Instead, it will probably be just mediocre characters that you can't kill, won't have anything unique about them, because that would mean you have to have an involving plot, and would have to have actions that have consequences, which again, aren't even possible because that would involve changing the world to fit the player's choices. I bought a custom $200 suit, and built my own Pit-Boy, and wore it to Comic-Con because I love Fallout so much. I played 3 and loved it. New Vegas, head over heels. I even love Fallout 3 with the downsides you gave it. I love Nuka-Cola, Diamond City, Megaton, the Zedans. Even my video game crush is Pepper Wright, even with the Play-Doh that is your character creator. And with all that care you say you put into these games, what did you do with this bootleg of a franchise? You made a fucking game with the actual fucking quality of a fucking bootleg. Fuck you, Todd. Why did I buy this game? Why didn't I even decide to play it? I thought they fixed things. I thought they would make things better. I thought, it's been a few years, things should be better now. But I didn't even realize that just because they are fixing it, doesn't mean the game they were planning was good to begin with. This isn't an RPG at all. It's just a better looking version of Minecraft. Hell, Minecraft is even more of a Fallout game than this. My biggest question is, why do people feel the need to support this game? Why are they playing a game that betrays its brand? Why are they buying microtransactions and continuing to stay loyal to Bethesda, even when it's clear they don't care about them and only seem to have their interest in mind? This could be asked for all developers who seem to abuse their player base. We live in a time where brand and franchise loyalty seem to be extremely powerful. Just look at games like Madden or FIFA, or even COD. Games that are designed to force players to spend hundreds of dollars on digital goods, only for them to abandon the game a year later for the next one. These aren't games anymore. They're just brands. Something developers will just use to market you out of your money. And Fallout has just become one of those franchises. It's ironic when the game that continuously parodies and makes fun of American capitalism has just become the very thing it's parodying. The Vault Boy is a parody on advertising, and now it's just become the advertising. So, I ask again, why do we put so much faith into a developer when they literally could fuck us over at any moment? Hell, Bethesda only had to show us a logo to a game no one knew about, and people freaked out. Why do we put so much faith in a product that is only marketed to us? Is it because they promised us something spectacular? Maybe it's because of a cool pre-order bonus they showed. Maybe it's because they gave you a hoodie after you had an interview with them, and now you defend them for everything. Maybe it's because they haven't failed you before, so why would they fail you now? The problem with all this is that companies and developers want that trust. Not because they care, but because they want to guarantee your wallets will be open. Some developers use friendship methods to market their things. Others use and abuse brand names itself. And we need to start being aware of this. So Bethesda, fuck you. You've shown that the Fallout IP is nothing more than an easy merch ploy for you now. You don't care about your supporters, you only care about what's in their wallets. You tell them you've learned, but you never tell them what it is you learned. You give them a glimpse of what they want, but then you delay that because it's not to the Fallout standards. They give you buckets of their own cash, hoping that you'd give them something in return. A fridge, private servers, the actual canvas duffel bag. You give them more bugs, their leaked info, Battle Royale, and a fuck you, give us your money. So Bethesda, what do you have to say for yourself?